Precisely 6:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News edited by J. Yogaraj and read by Sharifa Tahir. Headlines. The Ministry of Education announces that all government schools will reopen today as previously decided. The second stage of the first term will commence today. JICA plans to recommence its development projects in Sri Lanka. The International Monetary Fund and World Bank have praised the Sri Lankan government's commitment to resolve the debt crisis and reform process. The total revenue earned during the last 2 days in highways amounts to 35 million rupees. It is reported that there is an increase of accidents on the expressways. The buses and trains will operate as usual from today. News overseas. Sudan crisis. Further fierce fighting between Army and RSF. In sports, skipper Dimuth and Kusal blast Irish attack to put Sri Lanka on top. Local news in detail. The Ministry of Education announces that all government schools will reopen today as previously decided. According to Education Ministry's circular, the second stage of the first term will commence today. Moreover, the Ministry of Education says it will not issue letters for admission of students into intermediate classes these days. A new circular will be issued regarding the admission of students for intermediate classes in national schools with effect from April 20th, 2023, the ministry added. JICA plans to recommence its development projects in Sri Lanka. The JICA organization has taken this decision considering the present difficult situation in Sri Lanka. The Japanese government is keen on resuming the development projects in Sri Lanka, and Senior Deputy Chairman of JICA South Asia region, Imoto Saviko, has made this assurance when he met State Minister Shehan Semasinghe in Washington, D.C. yesterday. The Road Development Authority says that the revenue generated from expressways within yesterday alone is 35 million rupees. RDA Director General LVS Virakon said 126,760 vehicles have used the expressways during the 24-hour period ending at 12 midnight yesterday. He pointed out that the total revenue earned during the period is 34,974. Which is that's approximately 35 million rupees rather. In general, the number of vehicles using the expressway is around 90,000 per day, while the total income generated per day is nearly 25 million rupees, he added. Meanwhile, police said that the number of road accidents that took place during the Sinhala and Tamil New Year festive season this year has reduced in comparison to the previous years. However, it is reported that there is an increase of accidents on the expressways. The police has advised the motorists to drive carefully while traveling on expressways. The Railways Department says all the trains will be operated as usual today. Additional General Manager V.S. Polwata told SLBC that all office trains will operate today. He said special train services assigned to festive season will also be operated without delay. Accordingly, special trains from Badulla, Mathura and Anuradhapura will be operated on scheduled times, he added. Meanwhile, the private buses will operate from today as usual. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation giving you the news. Continuing with more stories here at home. Minister of Ports and Aviation Nimal Siripala de Silva says Sri Lanka has trained 8 female gantry operators to boost female employment in the non-traditional area. Minister said women in Sri Lanka were generally engaged in conservative jobs such as nursing, teaching profession, clerical services. Minister said that he is happy to be able to change from that conservative form and direct them to technical jobs such as the naval field. It is believed that women will be able to attract to these fields in the future, he added. According to the minister, Sri Lanka Ports Authority started employing lady gantry crane operators in 2017, and it is South Asia's first team of female gantry crane operators seen in the island. Vasa Syria, a function to mark the New Year festival, will be held on the 22nd at the Golfers Green. The festival had been jointly organized by the officials of the Presidential Secretariat, Prime Minister's Office, Ministry of Public Administration and several other government bodies. The organizing committee said any Sri Lankan or a foreigner can participate in the function. A media communique form, the organizing committee said a musical program will also be held in line with the festival. That's local news for the moment.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The International Monetary Fund and World Bank have praised the Sri Lankan government's commitment to resolve the debt crisis and reform process. Deputy Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund, Kenji Okumura, appreciated the commitment of the Sri Lankan government during a meeting with the State Minister of Finance, Shehan Semasinghe, on the sidelines of the 2023 IMFW spring meeting in Washington, D.C. State Minister Semasinghe said that the Sri Lankan delegation had a productive meeting with the IMF official and they discussed the way forward to meet the first review targets while remaining committed to complete the debt treatment negotiations as fast as possible. Governor of Central Bank Dr. Nandadal Veerasinghe and Secretary to the Finance Ministry Mahinda Siriwardana also participated in this meeting. During the event, President Ranil Wickremesinghe said Sri Lanka remains committed to continue to engage with all creditor nations and other stakeholders in a transparent manner based on the principles of comparable treatment. President Wickremesinghe joined the press briefing in Washington virtually and thanked the government of Japan for organizing the crucial meeting together with the government of India and France.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
And on Watchlight, the Department of Meteorology has issued a heat index advisory for several parts of the country, cautioning the general public to limit outdoor activities and stay hydrated. The Met Department said the temperature felt on human body is expected to increase up to caution level at some places in the country. The department has also advised the public to stay hydrated and take breaks in the shade as often as possible if working at job sites, limit strenuous outdoor activities, observe the elderly and sick, to refrain from leaving children unattended in vehicles, and also wear lightweight, white or light-colored clothing. That came to you on Watchlight. Moving on to world news headlines. Sudan crisis, further fierce fighting between army and RSF. EU rejects Ukraine grain bans by Poland and Hungary. Australia climate protest, rising tide activists shovel coal off train. World news in detail. Fierce clashes have been reported across Sudan as fighting between rival armed factions continues to spread. The escalation came on the second day of violence between the army and the paramilitary group called the Rapid Support Forces. More than 50 people have been killed, and one estimate puts the number of injured at more than 1,000. The European Commission has rejected bans introduced by Poland and Hungary on Ukrainian grain imports. The two countries said the measures were necessary to protect their farming sectors from cheap imports. The ban applies to grains, dairy products, sugar, fruit, vegetables and meats and will be in force until the end of June. The Commission said it was not up to individual member states to make trade policy. Finally, on world news, about 50 climate activists have been arrested in the Australian state of New South Wales after protesters climbed on a train carrying coal and began shoveling its cargo out of wagons. The train was stopped near Newcastle, a major coal export terminal. Protest group Rising Tide said it was demanding the cancellation of all new coal projects. That's on world news.
Development News.
The New Year in Paradise 2023 New Year Festival, which provides foreign tourists with experiences of local cultural traditions related to Sinhala Tamil New Year, was hosted under the guidance of Labour and Foreign Employment Minister Manusha Nanayakkara on the 15th of April at Thianuatana Beach. The Tourism Ministry and the Tourism Promotion Authority sponsored this New Year event, organised to provide New Year experiences to foreign tourists. Many traditional New Year competitions were organised for foreigners. That's on development news. Moving on to sports news. Cricket. Skipper Dimuth Karunaratne and Kusal Mendis were involved in a 281-run second wicket stand to put Sri Lanka in a commanding position, having scored 386 for 4 wickets by the close of the first day's play in the first test against Ireland played at Galle International Cricket Stadium yesterday. The first day was dominated by the Sri Lanka batsmen. Kusal Mendis and Dimuth Karunaratne led the way, treating the Irish bowlers with scant respect, hitting them to all parts at the Galle grounds to build up a huge total on the first day to put big pressure on the Irish team, who had to field throughout the 3 sessions on a sunny and hot day. Sri Lanka skipper Dimuth Karunaratne won the toss and elected to bat first on the Gall track, and Irish bowlers were under pressure from the beginning. Today is the second day of the test match.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු හින හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Commercial Bank CEO Sanath Manatunga was of the view that entities with deposit-taking liabilities would not be pressured into taking large haircuts on their long-term government securities. Manatunga said that entities without liabilities against their long-term assets would be able to take some degree of haircut. Manatunga said, "For the last 3 months, we were really worried, but now we are quite confident." He said this on the 13th of April. The current market rates on long-term government securities hovering about 25% are above the average weighted prime lending rate. When questioned on whether the bank was taking a long buy and hold position on government securities, Manatunga noted that the bank was actively making arbitrage trades on the differential. That's on Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු හින හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Economic news, courtesy of
LONC Finance is taking the power of innovation to the next level, winning 5 goals at the Technovation Awards 2022, leading the digital revolution with cutting-edge interbanking digital payments. LONC Finance claims the overall Gold Award whilst also claiming an extraordinary victory in digital banking.
State Minister of Finance Shehan Sembasinghe had bilateral meetings while the spring meeting was taking place. He discussed with Paris Club Secretariat co-chair William Roos. Sembasinghe has explained the progress made thus far on the debt restructuring process of Sri Lanka. The State Minister thanked the Paris Club for its important role played in the process. The co-chair was hereby appreciated Sri Lanka's debt restructuring progress. That's on Economic News.
LONC Finance is taking the power of innovation to the next level, winning 5 goals at the Technovation Awards 2022, leading the digital revolution with cutting-edge interbanking digital payments. LONC Finance claims the overall Gold Award whilst also claiming an extraordinary victory in digital banking. LONC Finance will continue to innovate with the next generation digitalization of financial services, delivering a superior customer experience.
Weather Report.
The Met Department says showers or thunder showers may occur at several places in Sabaragamu, western, central, southern, northwestern, over and north central provinces during the afternoon and night. Fairly heavy showers above 50 millimeters are likely at some places in Sabaragamu province and in Kandy and Nuwara districts. Mainly fair weather will prevail elsewhere over the island. This weather report was published this morning at 5:30 a.m. Further details could be obtained by visiting the official website of the department. And before we wind up this bulletin of news, back to the headlines. The Ministry of Education announces that all government schools will reopen today as previously decided. The second stage of the first term will commence today. JICA plans to recommence its development projects in Sri Lanka. The International Monetary Fund and World Bank have praised the Sri Lankan government's commitment to resolve the debt crisis and reform process. The total revenue earned during the last 2 days in highways amounts to 35 million rupees. It is reported that there is an increase of accidents on the expressways. The buses and trains will operate as usual from today. News overseas: Sudan crisis, further fierce fighting between Army and RSF. In sports, skipper Dimuth Kusal blast Irish attack to put Sri Lanka on top. And for that we conclude the morning bulletin of news. You're listening to Radio Sri Lanka.